Monica Dabole is the managing director of Galanto Consultants in Rio de Janeiro and also a former economist at the IMF. She says that despite Brazil's slight slip in FDI this time, the country has plenty of investment reserves to work with.
Over the last 3-4 years or so, we have actually had a surplus of resources that are coming into the country. So what that means is that the country's reserves, the international reserves that the country accumulates through the balance of payments, that had been on an increasing trend over the last 3 years due to all this foreign direct investment that was coming into the country. That has tapered off somewhat recently. So foreign direct investment is still quite robust in Brazil. There's still quite a lot of money coming in, but it's not doing as well as it was, let's say, in early last year or in 2011.
And you know, one of the things, and we talked about this earlier, is the fact that the commodity prices, I mean, obviously have an impact, and as they've softened up of late, how much of a further impact is that going to have on foreign direct investment when it comes to Latin America as a whole?
I think it's likely to have a fairly big, fairly substantial impact going forwards because we don't really see in any way this situation reversing, right? I mean, we are in a context where commodity prices have come down. They may come down even further in the future. So at least the investment that was being allocated to these sectors is likely to taper off. Now, Brazil, on the other hand, had been benefiting both from the commodity price boom, which is now seems to be at least over, but it also had a lot of other opportunities for FDI, for foreign direct investment, in the infrastructure sector. The Brazilian government launched last year a very ambitious program for infrastructure development. And there was this huge expectation that money would come in, money from foreign investors would come in to finance these projects. So far, that's happened to some extent, but it has not happened to the extent that the government was envisaging. So maybe for Brazil, depending on how things go, we may still have a bit of an upside in FDI, in foreign direct investment, if this money starts to come in to finance these projects.
The foreign investors that you're speaking about, obviously they're from all around the world, and we know there's tremendous interest from Asia and China. Help us better understand this. What areas of Latin America is the money from Asia interested in, and in what particular sector might they be interested in to invest?
Well, there is a lot of interest in infrastructure. There is a lot of interest in land and land development. And there Brazil has a natural comparative advantage because it's a very big country. It has lots of land available. So there's interest in that. There is interest as well in the agribusiness sector in Brazil. Now, let me just talk briefly about agribusiness, because despite the fact that we have this commodity price reversal, let's say, in the world, the agribusiness sector in Brazil is still extremely profitable. And it is an area that it is the one sector in the economy that is very modern. It is at par with the US, let's say, in terms of modernization, sophistication, and all that. And it is one sector that both the Chinese and Asians more generally have been very, very interested in investing. So this is despite, you know, the commodity price falls that we've seen in international markets.